Morgan, why don't you start for us? That would be great.
Hi, my name is Morgan. I'm an 11th grader, and this is my third year at Ross. I'm from America, so I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Um, I'm a boarding student, and I'd say that my favorite building on campus is either the Center for Wellbeing or the Senior Building.
Very nice. Trevor, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Trevor. I am in 11th grade as well. This is my third year at Ross, and I'm also from America. I'm from New York, a little bit outside the city. I'm a boarding student, and my favorite building on campus is either the CWB or the tennis center.
Yeah. Very cool. Sophie?
My name is Sophie. I'm also 11th grade and a boarder. This is my second year at Ross. I'm from France and Germany. And my favorite building is either the media building or the CWB.
Yeah, CWB seems to be quite popular. Okay, so for everyone here, I guess today how it's going to work a little bit is I'll ask a few questions for the students. If you have any questions throughout the seminar, please feel free to ask them in the group chat. And then while we're asking questions for the students, I might intervene and ask some trivia questions in between as well. These are just kind of random fun questions to get the students kind of thinking, put them on the spot a little bit. And at the end, one of the students who answers the most questions correct gets actually a gift card to Budaberry, which out here in East Hampton is a really cool spot. So we might as well go ahead and get started. I think I'll start with a kind of difficult question, so I hope you guys are okay with that. It's, who do you think is a Ross student? Like, what is a Ross student? How would you define a Ross student?
I mean, I think a Ross student is like a student that's like open to try new things, especially like people at Ross um sometimes do random things that you've never heard of. Um and a lot of like cool stuff that doesn't usually happen at other high schools. For example, like movie making or ceramics, or they build coral reefs out of clay or something like that. And that's just generally like a raw student is somebody that is not like against meeting new people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
I can agree with that. I'd say that Ross students definitely welcoming, definitely welcoming. I remember when I first came to Ross, everyone welcomed me with open arms. It was amazing. And I'd also say creative. I'm basically building on what Sophie said. Just creative thinking, always like just well rounded.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, again, coming to Ross, I've met some of like the nicest people ever. I remember stepping in like first day, and everyone was so nice, and I'm like, what's going on? But I think just like Ross kids are very like we're all very creative and just interesting in our own way, and I've met some of the most like interesting creative people here that I've like ever met in my whole entire life.
Those are really good answers, you guys. Thank you so much for that. I guess it's kind of leading into to our next question, which is how are you able to find yourself at Ross? What are some opportunities maybe, or some things you've been exposed to that's really helped you discover maybe a direction of where you're headed as in yourself?
I mean, I'll start off. I mean, like tennis academy. I'm in tennis academy, which is a program at Ross where I'm able to do school and play the sport that I love, and it's given me a lot of opportunities to like I'm starting to think about going to college for tennis, and it's giving me a lot of opportunities to like get into like the colleges that I want to get into, and so like this, that program has been really nice and very welcoming for me.
Yeah, very nice.
I'd agree with that. Sorry, we have a cat in our boarding house. which is which is definitely like all over me right now.
Is that Toy?
Um, I feel like there are so many different varieties of electives at Ross, and that really allows you to find like dabble in everything and see what you like. I also think that the teachers are really really accepting and like kind of like passionate about what you're passionate about almost. So it's like I think it's really easy to like if you are interested in something, you can just go straight into it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, then you can really delve into it, which is positive.
I think like one way that Ross helped me to like find myself was like I discovered media studies here, which I first thought it's just, you know, film and photography and something like that, but more like um you know, effect of technology on students, on like of everyday people. Like I think Ross really helped with that, and there are a lot of good teachers in that kind of area. But I think generally like there are a lot of students that have really found like a field that they're passionate about. There's a really good art program at Ross, performing arts like theater, media studies, economics, good science department, just digital department in general.
Yeah, I like that you're bringing up teachers and how they can support. So, who is a teacher, each one of you guys, that you admire who has really supported you, maybe?
Um, the teacher that I admire the most is probably my science teacher from here. Um, he's he was my ninth grade science teacher, and then he was my boarding parent last year, and then this year is my science teacher again. So he's been with me, and he's like been through like pretty much my whole entire high school career, and he's just like great. And so he like inspires me and pushes me to do my best. Probably the most out of all my teachers.
Yeah, same here. I think I'd say Hamir also. Um, yeah, same with Trevor. He's also been my ninth grade science teacher, current science teacher. He's my advisor. He also teaches me physics. It's just a lot. We have a lot of classes with him. Um, I feel like Hamir always like encourages me to like be the best that I can, even if I don't believe that I'm can be the best that I can. He believes that I can be the best that I can. That was really repetitive, but yeah, good teacher.
I agree. I see him do a lot of like projects, hands-on projects too, which is really, really fun. Mhm. I guess Sophie, if you're gonna break the chain or not.
I think the teacher that like helped me and like pushed me and like inspired me the most at Ross um, is Paul Gansky. He's the dean of media. But I also agree, Hamir is a really good teacher. He's also my science teacher and my macro teacher. And yeah, they're both very engaged. And Mr. Gansky has like helped me to like kind of dive into that media studies field, and always encourages us to work harder and think further.
Good answer. We actually have a question in the chat, so we might as well address it now. It says, have you ever been homesick, and what are some things you did to overcome it?
I'll start off again. I mean, like, I was a lot in my first year, which makes sense because it was the first time that I've ever been to boarding school. But I did go home like a few times. Um, but I mean, like, it's not as bad as you think, at least for me. But it's more like, it's fun because you're like independent and you're on your own, and you're doing your own thing, and you're kind of like fending for yourself a little bit. So it's like, I don't know, I just found that to be like really fun and cool, and just focusing on that instead of focusing on like I miss home, I miss my parents, my dog, my sister. But like, just focusing on the fun part and aspect of it really helps me like cope with like those days where I was like really missing home.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of got homesick, but I used to go home consistently like every month when I first came to Ross. So I only live like 2 hours away, so it wasn't really that big of a commute. So there's not much homesickness. But when I was like, well, okay, I kind of really wasn't. So if I were to be homesick, though, I feel like there's so much happening all the time that it's hard to just sit and be homesick. Like I feel like there's always something fun happening to like take your mind off of it. So
Yeah, I think I can definitely agree with Morgan. There's just like always something, like somebody that you can talk to, or like something going on that kind of distracts you from being homesick. But you know, my my home is 8 hours away with the plane. So I did kind of get a little bit homesick last year, especially in like the first 2 months. But especially at the beginning, it's just there's so much going on and so much you want to do and discover, and so much new people, that it kind of like it really takes off your mind of being homesick. And even if you like get homesick after a while, they're like, I mean, there are a lot of ways to like talk to your parents at home, to your friends, like find a way. um and Ross is also very understanding of that. If you need a day off, then you know you can stay that hour at the nurse or something. Or yeah, but it's there are a lot of distractions and always people that you can talk to.
Yeah, that's one thing about Ross School is, there's a lot of international students as well. We have about 25 different countries represented on campus. How has the international community at Ross School kind of impacted each one of you? Like just having those friends from abroad and meeting all these people from different cultures.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's like I've met so many different people from all around the world, people I never thought that I would ever meet in my whole entire life. And like being introduced to all these new cultures is really like, what's the right word? It's kind of like broadened my kind of thinking on like just how like different people's cultures are, and just how amazing like all like everyone's culture is, and it's just like so eye opening to me. And just like having those friends and seeing how like different people are everywhere, it's like kind of cool.
yeah, building on that, I feel like it really like erases a lot of prejudices and stereotypes that we have like of a bunch of different countries across the world, and I feel like it really shows in our school how like global we are. So it's like a small sample of the whole world almost, I like to call it.
Yeah, I think it's really like a lot of fun as well, because you get to also see so many different opinions. And you know, you might hear like a fun fact every day of a different country that you would have maybe never learned about if you would have, you know, just stayed within your area. But it was also a lot of fun to like kind of get to know, like as an international, like the American students, like Morgan and Trevor, for example. It's also really interesting, as well, to see how life is here, like just see the contrast between all of different people and how they do things differently or the same.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So this has been talks about like the community, the people there. But if we were to focus in on the campus itself, what do you think about the Ross School campus? How is it unique?
I mean, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. I don't know about you guys, but it's there's like different building. I don't know how many different buildings there are, but each one has its own purpose, and it contributes something to the Ross campus, and it's beautiful. There's outdoor areas, like everywhere you go, you see, I don't know, like the view is just amazing, and like I've never seen anything like it. So
Yeah, there's just so much unique about the Ross campus. Like to start, we have joined classrooms, like so the classrooms have like doors that open up so we can like connect between classrooms. We have like an amphitheater when you leave the media building or the high school building. It's like supposed to model like a, I forget which century, but like an amphitheater where they like did like plays and stuff, but it's outside and it's really cool. We have a fountain, the Nike Green statue. We have a koi pond. Like, there's a lot unique about the Ross campus.
Yeah, I mean, I think what is not unique about the Ross campus, like, I don't think, like, when I first came here, I mean, just generally, it's so beautiful. Like, it's not, you don't arrive and you think, oh my God, I need to go into this building again. Like, my old school is just gray, you know, and Ross is just, you know, it really helps because it's, you know, it's a nice building and you like to go in there and, you know, there are comfortable couches in there as well. Those are really nice. And yeah, just like Trevor and Morgan mentioned, the buildings are really cool because when you go in there, like everything in that building points towards one like domain. When you go in the high school building, it's all about like the like between like 1848 and like 1900s. So it's like a lot about revolution. And the media building is like more modernity, and yeah, a lot of art pieces there, which is really cool.
Definitely. So I guess we can move into curriculum and classes, questions revolving around that. We have quite a few questions in the chat. So if we want to just kind of pick through those, I don't know if you students want to kind of spearhead these questions, or if you want, I can read each one, but it's up to you.
Could you read them so like
yeah, so we can keep it in a structure. Yeah. Okay, the first question is, do you study independently or in a group?
Independently.
Yeah, I mean, there's like for boarding students, there's what we call like study hall in houses, in different boarding houses. Some boarding parents do it. Like I've had years where boarding parents do it where so I would like study, like, you know, and there would be like kids from in my grade there that, you know, like if I ever have a question, I'd be like, oh, like what's this? How do I do it? Or like I also like call one of my friends and be like, how do I do this? Can you help me? Which everyone's very like helpful. And but I mean, I usually study independently though.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it's more like a independent while being a group, if that makes sense. Like, for example, especially here in the boarding house, you know, we sit all in one room and maybe people work on different stuff or the same stuff. And then like sometimes you can like you talk to each other, but it's also nice because you can work on your stuff and concentrate. But there are definitely like also people that meet up at school and work in groups. We have a lot of group projects also this trimester, you know, social distance mostly online on Zoom, but you can still kind of meet up on campus with, you know, distance outside. We did that at the beginning of the year. So I guess it's like a mix of both. Like you are able to study independently if you want that, or you can be in groups.
The next question, because I think that was a good kind of overview of the fact that it is both. Is there any programs involved with the arts during the coronavirus?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really like the best person to say this. I'm not very like artsy person, but from what I've heard, it's pretty much normal. Like I know a few of my friends are in like AP art, so like art different, and then some people are in like film classes and photography, and so all the arts are still going on as normal, just in a more like social distancing, like all that stuff, sort of way.
Yeah, we have the one act plays, socially distanced. We have this dance class going on still, socially distanced. It's outside too, so it's safe. Yeah, pretty normal.
Do you think you guys that the community has been pretty supportive during these difficult times?
Yes, 100%. Yes, definitely. All the teachers are they're very supportive. Like if I need to like have a meeting with someone because maybe I'm struggling in their class, or like to help me with an assignment that I might not get, they're always very open. Um, like just the whole community as a whole, like everyone is just very close with each other, and very willing to, like, if someone's going through something difficult, like everyone is like super nice and here to help, like in whatever way deemed necessary. So everyone's been very supportive during this time.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like, especially like in this time, I hear in a lot of schools, like my sibling as well, they are having like trouble to kind of like get in contact with teachers, and I think that also answers one of the questions in the chat. Like teachers are just really accessible during this time. We use Microsoft Teams mostly, but then also you can always like write them an email. Like sometimes I meet up with the teacher like 10 p.m. and they're totally fine with it. A lot of teachers say that they exist outside of time, which is also really good as well. And yeah, it's very easy to get in contact with teachers.
I don't know if any of you get academic support, but can you maybe have some input on the question about, does Ross School offer any academic support for students with learning differences?
Yeah.
The vague answer from admissions is yes. We have a great support team, Carl Brandel. I don't know if you guys have dealt with him a little bit, but he's pretty great, I think.
Yeah, we've also got Miss Gillespie, which helps with like students who are struggling in their classes, maybe have like learning disabilities. And, she's great. We also have like, there's like a whole team of like wellness who are like help with academic learning and learning disabilities and different stuff that you're going through emotionally.
There's also a period set inside in the day if you have a learning disability to like get caught up on homework, or have Miss Gillespie who helps everyone with like academic stuff, like to get through your homework and stuff. So it makes it a lot easier.
Awesome, yes. So there's a couple other questions in here, but they actually relate to other topics that we're going to get to. So I think we can circle back to them. I did want to ask, while we're on the topic of curriculum and classes, though, what is an elective class or class in general that has been a favorite of yours?
I mean, I don't like the program that I'm in. I'm only allowed to take one elective, and that elective I'm taking AP European History. So I mean, that's interesting to me, but I guess tennis counts as an elective, so that's my favorite one, in my opinion.
Okay. Oh, okay. I guess I'm going. I have so many. I remember last year I took an astrophysics. It was like philosophy, physics class. We learned about the Big Bang. We learned about time and like time warp, and it was cool. Also took an ethics class in ninth grade. That was really interesting. The teacher who taught that left, but I'm pretty sure there's another teacher who could also teach that class, and it's a really good class. And also I take a lot of physics classes, so those are interesting to me. I know it's not the same for everyone else, but
Yeah, I think I've also taken like my fair share of electives. I always try to do more than it's possible. But I think one of my favorite electives was called Counterculture Media, and it was last year in winter. And it is a media class. It was really interesting. We talked about a lot of stuff in the 20th century and just about cultures and how they affect, I guess, just general the world, the people. And I've taken macroeconomics, which is also really interesting. And also, and we've designed an independent study with a couple students this year where we just discuss a lot of different, like we discussed philosophy in the beginning and now technologies. So that was really cool as well.
We did just have our fourth student join us, Owen. So Owen, if you want to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Owen. I'm in 10th grade, and I've been at Ross for since pre-nursery. when I was 2. And yeah, I really like it here, and I'm interested in like science and technologies, and I'm part of the STEAM certificate program, which is really great at Ross.
Good. I'm glad you have experience with the STEAM program. That's good. So we're talking right now a little bit about curriculum and classes. And we just answered our favorite elective class or class in general. So do you want to jump in and maybe answer that?
Yeah, sure. So last year I took a course called Future Technologies, and I think I took it in the winter, and it was really fun. So we were given like a theme, and then we'd have to go research it and like present it to the class. So like an example would be like a prosthetic part for anyone, like an animal or human, and then not only would you research one and come up with your own, but you'd also create a prototype for it. So I came up with like a sixth finger, and then made a 3D printed a sixth finger, and yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, it is really cool. Something that's a little different about Ross School is we have a class called Integrated Project. Does anyone want to kind of talk about what that is?
I mean, integrated project is when, last year when we weren't in the pandemic, this is the time where like the entire grade meets up together and we do all different kinds of projects. It mostly relates to the time period that you're studying that year. Last year, 10th grade, where we did like Revolution and Rise of Individual, we could have like watched a movie about Louis XIV, or we learned about history of pre-calculus. So it's a time where you can do all kinds of projects, and you might also be able to suggest ideas to your teachers. And I think this year we've been using it a lot for a project in performing arts, where we did a trial script for a revolutionary leader, and then we're supposed to perform it on Zoom this week, actually. And I think soon we're gonna start working on Modernity Project, which is like a project in 11th grade, where you pick like a topic, your modernity, and create something. And yeah.
Awesome. How easy do you think it is to adapt to the curriculum as a new student? Anyone can answer.
I mean, for me, it was a little bit of like a rude awakening, sort of, because like I came from 8th grade, and I came from a public school where the work wasn't really like that hard, and I didn't really get that much like tough work. And then I came to Ross, and it kind of like pushed me to like educationally wise, and I was very thankful for that, because I never had a class that really like pushed me or really made me think. But like after like the first month, I was fine. It was more like, but like in the beginning, it was a little rough, but then as you kind of get there, and and your teachers are really supportive, so it wasn't like where I was kept struggling. It was like they were very supportive, so I was able to figure it out after that.
Morgan, what do you think?
It was a bit different for me. I think that the Ross like spiral curriculum, it looks really threatening when you're like looking at it, because it's like we build on all these topics from kindergarten to 12th grade, so you kind of think that you need to like know everything before you come to Ross, but it's really not the case. Like when you come and you're talking about, I think the Renaissance is the ninth grade topic. Um, they build on things from the 8th grade they learned in the 8th grade, but it's a good like set a review, and then it goes to whatever time period you're working on. So I think that it's a pretty smooth transition. Like you don't need to know everything before you come, is basically what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Sophie, go ahead.
From like a view of like, not having English as a first language, talking about that, it was definitely first unusual to like speak English all the time, I think, but you get used to it very quickly, and you are able to speak more fluently after like 2 weeks. Like it goes really fast. And it wasn't like I think I agree with the others. It wasn't that hard to adapt to the curriculum, and you didn't have to have specific background knowledge on something.
I think now might be an okay time to talk about, Owen's been with us since middle school. If you could just briefly, maybe Owen, talk about what's like a big difference between middle school and high school that you noticed.
So yeah, middle school and high school, there are a few differences, but the good thing now is that they've been pretty integrated, and most of the middle schoolers know the high schoolers, and they're pretty closely connected. But I think the main difference, of course, is electives and like picking stuff that you're interested in. That's really an amazing thing that I've always been excited for when I got to the high school. And also your advisor. So you'll have your advisor for the rest of the 4 years of high school, and you get pretty close with them, and they help you a lot. And yeah, I think also borders. There are borders in the middle school, but it becomes a lot more of them in the high school, and you get to like learn stuff about them and learn stuff about other countries and wherever they're from, and it's really cool to talk with them a lot, become friends with them.
Yeah, good point. How much homework do you guys get if you were to answer that? Do you think it's overwhelming, or what do you guys think?
I think it always depends on the students. Like some students that are really pushing themselves as well, take a lot of classes as well, so they might have more homework than others. But I think in general, like it is like a normal amount. Like you get home and you're able to finish the homework, and then it's up to you if you like want to do more. For me, definitely, I look for more to do. But if you like really, if it's too much for you, you can always talk to teachers, and like tell them this is a lot. Can you please help me out here?
I think that's a good
Yeah,
answer.
I agree with Sophie. Like it's all depending on what kind of classes you take, and how far you're willing to push yourself educationally wise. So I usually have like it's always a fair amount. It's never like crazy amounts. So yeah.
Perfect. How long is a class normally, you guys? And how do projects revolve around a specific time in history? Think classes are normally about 40 minutes, right?
Yeah, classes are usually like 40 to 50 minutes. Actually, like 40 to 45 minutes usually.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm just packing up my stuff to go home. But uh, so, but classes are usually pretty. They're they're like 40 to 45 minutes. So
Mhm. So it's like a good turnaround time. What do you think, though, about projects relating to history that you're learning about? Do you see that often?
I mean, I guess
So, oh no,
you,
go.
I spoke.
I'd love to hear from you both.
I think projects, they have kind of like that background of this is gonna happen in this specific time period, but it's also very like flexible. You're really allowed to do like what fits best for you. We had a project last year in 10th grade, in English actually, where you could like you could write, you could do a movie, you could write a song, you could do some art, and it was about like our time period of the rights of the individual. um, yeah, this year, like I said earlier, it's gonna be about modernity. So I think for my modernity project, I'm gonna like research something and about like something that happened during the 19th century in relation to like radio and film studies.
Morgan, do you want to add anything, or are you feeling okay?
Yeah, basically the same thing as Sophie. It's so with the history projects. I mean, they all just relate to the time periods. Nothing else much to say.
Yeah, all the classes kind of relate. That's kind of the point you were saying, right, about sometimes classrooms opening up and working at the same time, which is pretty cool. I think we'll stop and do a trivia question for a second. So I think the best way to do it is everyone can use the first letter of their first name. And just the first person to submit that letter in the group chat will be able to answer. But the question is, if that makes any sense, I hope it does. The question is, which Ross faculty member has been skydiving? Is it Jennifer Cross, Emerson Sestair, or Howard Brown? Okay, Morgan, what do you think?
I think it's Coach Brown.
Yeah. Good job. Yes, Howard Brown, the director of athletics, has been skydiving. And if you get to meet him, you'll see he's a really fun guy, really just loves life, I feel. He's an amazing coach as well for the boys basketball team. I watched him do some pretty great things. All right. Okay, so I think we'll move on to clubs and activities now. So if each one of you guys want to just maybe state some clubs or some sports that you've been in, or an instrument maybe.
So I think one club this year that actually Morgan and I started is the American Sign Language class, which has been really fun. We've been learning ASL and about the ASL community. And last year there were a couple clubs. There was a club, philosophy club that I was in. There was another class, a business club, and a psychology club. And I think this year there's also a Girl Up club, which like supports, girls and yeah.
Yeah, not only that, I remember in my freshman year we had a peer tutoring class that I started, but club leader went to college, so oh well. Also, sports wise, you asked too.
Yeah, some sports you guys have played would be great too.
I did cheer, or I'm going to do cheer, but I did cheer last year in my um sophomore year, and I'm going to do cheer, uh, yeah, soon. So yeah.
Trevor, if you're still with us, I'd love to hear a little bit about Tennis Academy too when you can get to it. But I don't know, Owen, do you want to tell us a little bit about some sports you've done?
Yeah, so my time here at Ross, I've been doing my independent study, which if Ross doesn't like provide a sport that you like provide a lot, pretty nice ones. But if there's one that you've been doing before that they don't have, or you are part of a team already that's outside of Ross and you like to continue doing that, you can make your own independent study. And so that's, you just do your sport. There's a few requirements, and then it counts as your team sport if it's part of a team. And yeah, I've been doing rowing, and I have Kathy Yun, my independent study teacher, and I think that's a really great thing, that if the school doesn't provide what you like, then you can make it yourself, and that's really great.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's a lot of individualizing happening at Ross School, which is pretty unique. What is an event you guys look forward to at Ross School? Is it like senior exhibition night, Spirit Week? What do you guys think?
I think I look forward to the senior exhibition night. Like it was pretty great last year to see what the seniors have been doing, what they've been working hard on, and a lot of different stuff. There was photography, there were fashion design, there was a movie presented, literature presented, some cultural stuff. Somebody did some music, somebody did a video game. So it's like really, really diverse, and it was really cool to see like what they were passionate about and what they're going to continue doing, maybe even after school.
Yeah, senior project night is well, the 3 nights is really fun. Like last year, there was also someone like did something to a car, and it was just really cool. But also, I guess field day is pretty fun when we can have it. I'm not sure what we're doing this year, but that's always fun. You play some games outside with the whole school, and yeah, that's also a really fun event.
Morgan, what do you think? Do you think I feel like Spirit Week is really cool because like honestly the cheerleaders really bring a lot of energy.
Yeah, I like senior project week a lot. I also like Spirit Week a lot because we get to do cheer for the pep rally, which is always fun. Um, but something about senior project night, I think that's something that just point out is that it's super inspiring. Like you always feel like, oh, I need to do something like super cool after seeing that cool video game or art project, like whatever you're passionate in. If you see someone do something really cool, you're like, oh, I need to do something like that. I think it's just super inspiring.
Yeah. Speaking of senior projects, I guess, does anyone want to give like a quick overview of what it really is?
Well, senior projects are just like the seniors, current seniors start working in like I think the end of their junior year or the summer before their senior year in order to like have a
Like,
cumulative project of something they're passionate about. So whether it be like STEM or arts, photography, or something like that, they have a cumulative project that they present in around December, January. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
yeah.
too. Mhm. And what's cool about it too is that it's a great doorway into, like you were saying, something you're passionate about, but maybe what you want to study in college. Because we do start college counseling in ninth grade, as you guys know. And, another thing that kind of works your way into maybe a passion based thing is Field Academy. So, does anyone want to kind of explain what Field Academy is?
Well, Field Academy is a 3-week thing in February, March, I think, where we have different trips or trips like kind of field academies on campus. So year, I think we had 5 trips. There was one to Cuba, Zimbabwe in Africa, um, Cyprus, Australia. There was one supposed to go to Japan, but because of COVID, sadly, it didn't work. And yeah, there's like a theme that the Field Academy has. I went to Cuba and was more of a Spanish immersion program, but also culture. Owen was there as well, and yeah, we kind of just studied the culture there and traveled a lot. And yeah, you can do projects there as well. I know that the Cyprus trip was a photography class, and they just did photography for the 3 weeks.
Yeah, during my sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
During my field academy last year, I went to Zimbabwe and it literally changed my life. No exaggeration. We worked with this company or nonprofit called Hoops for Hope, which is started by Mark Randall. He lives out here. And basically, we traveled to Zimbabwe for 3 weeks. We volunteered for two. Um, and we helped educate kids, underprivileged kids, through like basketball and games and stuff, which was really, really cool. And then for like the last 3 days, we went to Tanzania and we just relaxed. And it was really nice and amazing.
How many trips have each of you been on, just out of curiosity?
I have only been on the one to Cuba, but it was also my
I've been on one trip to.
Okay, I think he's muted and I think he's still talking. I'm not really sure.
Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
sorry. Like my Wi-Fi is going in and out. It's going crazy. But I've been on one trip, and that was in ninth grade to Brazil, and it was for tennis, and it was amazing. We went to like every so the first week of our trip we were in Sao Paulo, and we every day we'd go to like a different club and play tennis and hang out with some of the local people. And then the second week we went to this academy in southern Brazil, and we played there for a week, and it was honestly, like Morgan said, life changing. Like 10,
Oh, and how many have you been on?
I've been on two. I went in eighth grade. I went to Croatia and Bosnia, and with the middle school team, which is really nice. And then last year I went to Cuba with Sophie, and yeah, it's they're amazing. Like you get to meet like locals, and especially like Cuba, like it's a really like special place to be able to go to, and yeah, it's really nice there because it's like all like the old cars, and they're not as like what's the word, advanced. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's like really cool there.
Cool. And Morgan, this is you obviously you've been on the Zimbabwe and that was your first year, right? Okay, cool.
Oh,
Just check.
I was here the year before, but then I just didn't go. I stayed on campus.
And what was that like? You did a class,
Yeah,
right?
I did a class with Mr. Raybeck, he's the 11th grade English teacher, and Mr. Shade, who was the old head of
Mhm.
science, and basically watched like sci-fi movies all day and analyzed them, and it was super interesting and also really fun because we just got to watch movies. But um, yeah, good analysis class for science fiction.
Mhm. Yeah, what's cool about the on-campus ones is sometimes you do even still travel, but just kind of locally for the most part, which is cool. But it's fun and interactive still, even if you're not going abroad. So I think we'll do another trivia question while I have you guys. So whenever you're ready to submit your answers, the question is, how many variations of pizza toppings did executive chef Liz Dobbs have last year in total? Is it 19, 32, or 10? What do you think? Sophie?
19.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm making these too easy. Just kidding. Okay, very cool. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Field Academy and senior projects. Trevor, do you want to talk a little bit about RSTA? Might be missing because I know we had bad connection. Shoot. We can move into boarding then at this point. How would you say that, well, like, what is something you like most maybe about your boarding houses?
There's a lot to say. Um, we have a pretty nice boarding house, not gonna lie. Um, I like our kitchen. Our kitchen is so beautiful, and like the dining room is like kind of attached to it, and it's like a nice window with like a view, and it's just so pretty. Um, Also we have two cats, one of which is on me right now, which is pretty cool. They're actually Andrea's cats. I'm pretty sure Andrea's in the call. Um, yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah, I think what I like most about the boarding house is just, living with these like different people, like people your age, um, that, you can always like, you always have somebody to talk to, like something to do. It's never gets boring. Um, and there's also like this like sense of community. Like yesterday we had a nice Thanksgiving dinner. I'm also in the same house as Morgan. She's a couple rooms over there. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like you always like you live with your friends. That's just cool.
Um, my boarding house that I live in is really nice. Um, we have a tennis court and a basketball court, and we also have a cat, which I which I can't which is I can't show you guys because I'm not at my house yet, but it's really nice, and it's me and five other boys, and we get along really well, and the house is really nice, and I just enjoy being there.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't we talk about food because there's actually a few questions even in the chat about it. What do you guys think of the Ross Cafe food and where do you think is your favorite place to order from?
I can start. Okay. I think my favorite Ross Cafe food is the chicken parmesan. It's so good. I could literally eat like 20 million pieces of chicken if they let me. Um, yeah. Or what's pretty good? Like it's not a food, but it's like a topping, the guacamole. It's pretty good. It's pretty up there on the list. So yeah. Oh, and my favorite place to order from is probably the sushi place. I'm pretty sure the sushi. I don't even know where we get the sushi, but it's just really good.
I had a feeling we might say that. I hear a lot of students like the sushi. But yeah, the food at the Ross Cafe, you guys get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what do you guys think? What do you think, Sophie?
Yeah, I think my favorite, like the Ross Cafe, is just it's really good, and also Liz, who plans all the food. She's always like open for suggestions. We in COVID times we get like a Google form where we have different choices, and at the end she always like ask, what do we want, which is really nice. And if you say you want a bucket of pancakes, then she'll make you a bucket of pancakes. Um, and I think my favorite food are the pork buns. They're so good as well. Um, and on Friday we get ice cream, which is nice for the boarding students in the evening. Um, but yeah, in general, it's really good.
And what's really cool also is sometimes the food is inspired by different cuisines, right? Which I think is pretty cool. Oh, and you've had the food obviously at Ross for a very long time. Are you a big fan like of a certain dish or anything?
Yeah, I mean the like 4 or 5 times that we get it the year, Burger Day is definitely the best. You can smell it all morning, and it's the best thing in the world. You know it's Burger Day, and also I don't know, shepherd's pie is also really great. Everything every day I'm excited for what we have for lunch, um, and also you were talking about the different cuisines some days. So some days there's like depending on the holiday or also what some grades are learning. Like I know 8th grade, they help make tamales one day, and then the whole school has them, and yeah, they're pretty good. And like yeah, and then also different holidays, like we have Thanksgiving and stuff. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's the seventh graders. They learn about the Mayans, right? And they actually make the food themselves, which is really cool. And yeah, another example might be like we celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year and we'll have like Asian food and things like that. Um, so yeah, the food is it's great. It's the Ross Cafe actually stands for regional, organic, seasonal, and sustainable. And even some of the food, like the spices and veggies and stuff, are coming from our community garden outside the Spiral Garden, which is great too. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about like what weekends look like, and also if anyone wants to jump in and also talk about like what there is to do around small towns around here as well.
So there's like a whole bunch of like different things that you can do during the weekend in town. Like if you live in Sag Harbor, there's a town. If you live in East Hampton, there's also a town where you can do different things. The past 3 years that I've been here, I've been living in Sag Harbor, so I know the town really well. There's a lot of great restaurants, um, really good food. I like Budaberry a lot. It's like this frozen yogurt place, and it has like really good ice cream. Um, there's like a beach nearby, which is nice to go to with friends. Like they're very on the weekends. Boarding students, they let like go out. There's a curfew, of course, but they let you go out and pretty much do whatever you want within reason. So the weekends are times that I look forward to, and they're like really fun.
Yeah, and also like for boarding students, there are also a couple trips on the weekends that we have. Of course, like in a pandemic, it's been a little bit difficult, but I think it's still like they're still offering a lot considering the circumstances. Like we did some pumpkin carving this year here in the boarding house. We went on a socially like distanced haunted house walkthrough, which was really cool during Halloween, and like a movie drive-in. But last year, there are also a couple city trips to New York and to like a shopping mall or to Six Flags in New Jersey. So yeah, there are a couple trips, and then of course you can always go to the little towns here where you get really good food, like Trevor said.
Do you want to add anything, Morgan, or you feel pretty good? Like, do you ever go into the city? What has that been like? Well,
Oh,
you're actually from Brooklyn.
yeah, I mean, when we do have city trips, I'll usually go just because I'm kind of familiar. I just pick up like random things that I can't get out here. But honestly, every weekend I just go to town. It's just such a normal thing here. Like if you want to do anything, you go to town. And I live in Sag Harbor now. Last year and this year I lived in Sag Harbor. And the first year I came here, I was in East Hampton, which is also a nice town, but I feel like Sag Harbor is better for it's more casual, I think. Like the feel is more casual than like um Southampton or East Hampton or any of those places.
I agree. While we're still kind of on the subject of boarding life, um, do you think you see a lot of cross between local and boarding students? Are you making friends, both local and boarding?
Yeah, I think definitely like of course in school and classes the boarding students are not like we have different sections and it's like mixed boarding and day students and you do projects with day students so you get to talk with them and then maybe on the weekends you meet up with them. Of course it like always depends on the students um, what they like want to do, but I think which is interesting especially this year I've been talking a lot more to day students which I think is really good. um, then like it's better than last year. um, and yeah, so it's not hard for boarding and day students to like connect. It's pretty easy here.
Cool. So I think we've gotten most of the questions answered. There is one specific one. I don't know, maybe Owen, if you want to answer, it's asking about grade 9. Like, what are some projects or some specific things that you really liked, maybe a favorite teacher?
Yeah, ninth grade was really fun. It was a great introduction to high school. It was amazing. Um, my favorite teacher, I mean, the history teacher, Kevin Snyder, but sadly he's not here this year, but he may visit. But but yeah, some projects like in integrated project like we were talking about before when the whole grade comes together. Last year we had a lot of fun. We did like this game where we like traded with everyone, but we like couldn't talk, and it was like when the Europeans went to the New World. I mean, when they went to the Americas and they had to like trade and stuff, they didn't speak the same language, so it was fun, but also very informative and learning for what we were learning about in history as well. Yeah, ninth grade's really fun.
Awesome. Let's do another trivia question, you guys. So this one is, how many boarding animals are there? Is there 7, 3, 10? What do you guys think? Sophie, that was
7.
quick.
7.
Oh, it's Trevor. He's answered. 7 is correct, actually. This is crazy. Now we have to have at least one more to get someone to win. So we'll have to spiral back around to another question. One question I do want to ask though is, what is something that you wish you knew before you came to Ross?
I think I wish I knew that it's like okay to go up to teachers and like ask for more help or like ask if they want to help you with this project or like if they think they could get you more involved into this area. Like I thought it's like in my old school in France and Germany, in both countries, it was just kind of you go to school, the teachers teach you their subjects, and then you go home and you do the homework. But here it's more like um, there's more possibilities for the students to do more, and it's okay. Like teachers are like really happy to help you and support you. And also one more thing, I think that's like important as well. I thought that uniform would be much stricter because in the handbook it says that you have to wear blue socks, but you do not have to wear blue socks.
Morgan, what do you think? Something you wish you knew about Ross before you came?
Sorry, my roommate just came back. Um, what's it called? So something I wish I knew about Ross. It's gonna sound kind of stupid, but I wish that I knew that we didn't have to take study hall, because I took so many study halls during my freshman year, and honestly, I wanted to do like more classes, but I thought the workload would be too big, so I like took study halls. But you don't have to take study halls. You can just go into it, and it won't be too much work, and it'll be really fun and really informative. So, yeah.
Trevor, do you have an answer? Okay, he is very busy. He's probably just getting to his house, honestly. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm sorry. What? That I'm using keeps cutting out, but I'm at my house like right now.
that's fine. That's fine. We can circle around and do another question. Let's see if we miss any in the group chat actually, because I think I skipped over a few. What does after school look like for you guys?
Well, with non-COVID times, okay, I'll talk about like what's like without COVID. So usually, it hit 3:45, which would be the end of our last class, and we leave the classrooms. Usually, everyone would go to the CWB, and either we would just hang out, do homework, work out if you wanted to, and at around 5 o'clock, I think it was, we used to eat dinner. Well, if you're a boarding student, and if you were a day student, then you could pay to eat dinner. Um, but yeah, we eat dinner and then we leave the oh, a question just popped up. What's CWB? It's like the gym slash like gym slash locker room slash nurse slash cafe. It's like a building that we just use for almost everything. And it's pretty relaxing. It has the koi pond too, so pretty cool. Yeah, then we'd eat dinner and then um go back to our boarding houses if you're a boarding student, and if you're a day student, then either you leave at 3:45 or you hang around Ross until everyone else leaves. And with COVID times, we just leave the school at 3 o'clock if your house parent drives you, and 3:45 if you take the bus.
Is that kind of the same for you, Owen, that you see? Or sometimes you're probably hanging around for sports?
Uh, yeah. So last year, at least in the beginning of the year, some days you would like stay at school like later, and you can like hang out with your boarder friends and have dinner, and sometimes it'd be basketball games or volleyball games or whatever it is. Um, and yeah, so also of course you probably have sports every day or every other day or whatever it is, and yeah, and then I don't know, yeah.
Good answer. Are dorms separate from the main campus?
Yes, the dorms are separate. We have boarding houses that are like 10 to 15 minutes away from the school. And there are about like, I think maximum is like 14 students in a house with boarding dorm parents. And they're mostly, they can be teachers or like other faculty members or staff like at Ross. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's like a little family. Also what I wanted to add about after school, that you can also like do clubs like after school ends. That's a lot of fun as well. Or you do like sports. Like I did surfing in the first trimester, and that was a lot of fun.
Okay, it looks like we'll have one more question here and then we'll do one more trivia and we can call it a day. Do the younger kids, like 6th and 7th and 8th graders, get the same club options?
Short answer, no. I think they separate the lower school and the upper school pretty much all the way. Like I mean, oh, okay. Yeah, they pretty much separate the lower schools and upper schools. So the upper school has like its own clubs, and the lower school has its own clubs. Or I don't really know if they even have clubs. So
I think they do, Owen, right? They have a couple like clubs in middle school. I don't know. He might have some examples.
Um, I think there are a few now because like clubs they recently started like growing a lot more. But I mean I don't know. Middle school was like a while ago. I can't really remember, but there definitely I'm sure there are definitely a few clubs now.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so I have one more trivia question, you guys, and it looks like Morgan, Sophie, and Trevor have all answered, so this might be the tell-all, unless Owen makes it go a little longer. The question is, though, how many AP exams did we proctor on campus last year? Is it 23, 15, or 10?
15.
Sophie? Yeah, Sophie answered first. What is it?
15.
15, exactly. Congratulations, Sophie. Nice job, you guys. I hope you had fun with that. If anyone has any last minute questions from the group that they want to ask now is a good time. I hope I answered all the other ones above. So if not, now is a good time to repeat that if you're really curious about it. Is there any last words that you students want to say? Maybe a piece of advice for new kids? You know, sometimes they feel a little nervous coming. Do you think that they should feel nervous or?
No, I think they should not feel nervous at all. I mean, I'm kind of a hypocrite saying that because I was really, really nervous, especially like coming from like a different country to Ross. But it's like it's gonna be great. Like if you you can shape your time at Ross like you want it to. So I wouldn't be worried at all. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I haven't been a new student at Ross, but I have had new students come, a lot of new students come, and I mean I know this year I'm already super close friends with like 3 of the new students that already came. So you definitely should not be scared because they're definitely welcoming people here.
Yeah, I mean, advice that I would give for new students is to just like, don't be like, it's not as like afraid or terrifying as you think. Like I came into it like, oh my God, I'm in like a new place. This is my first time boarding. Like, what is going on? But like, don't. It's not. Everyone here is so nice and so welcoming, and that it's like it's not scary at all. Like you realize that it's like it's gonna be so fun, and you're gonna have so many like new experiences that like you'll just like your fear will go away in like an instant.
yeah, just to finish it off, I think yeah, everyone's very nice. You should not be scared. Um, I was also scared, as Sophie said, when I first came in ninth grade, and everyone was super welcoming, no matter who it was. Like, you could literally walk up to anyone and start a conversation. It was like fine. So, yeah, don't be scared. If you come to Ross, you're gonna have a great time.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Morgan, Sophie, Owen, and Trevor for coming here today. And thank you everyone who showed up. I hope you learned something new or got your questions answered. I hope you're excited about Ross School. We're always excited to have new kids. And hopefully we'll see you either half year or next year. But thank you everyone. Have a good night, okay?